Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order this July 5th special meeting of the New Canaan Board of Education. And now we'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I would like to acknowledge we have two board members participating remotely today, Julie Toll and Brendan Hayes, and Bob Naughton is absent. So with that, I'll ask for review and approve the agenda. So may I have a motion? Hugo, second. Bill, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. And I'll open the meeting with a statement that I prepared. We called this special meeting in order to discuss the current vacancy on the Board of Education and to share an update with the community and acknowledge our current circumstance. As background, a seat opened on our board after the resignation of board member Dan Bennett on April 26. Our town charter provides for 90 days to seat a new board member. And the language in that charter, which is also included in our BOE bylaws, says that if a vacancy occurs in the office of any member of the Board of Education, it shall be filled by a vote of the remaining members of the board until the next biennial municipal election. If the Board of Education fails to fill any vacancy which occurs on the board within 90 days after the vacancy occurs, the Board of Selectmen may fill such vacancy until the next municipal election in accordance with the town charter. Of note and interest to this board, the charter language suggests that it would like the board to act, but also acknowledges that there could be circumstances under which the board cannot or chooses not to act. So since May, our board has undergone a process to evaluate candidates who wanted to be considered for the vacant seat. We are grateful and appreciative of those individuals who came forward to show interest and a willingness to serve. Additionally, our board did not expect to find ourselves in this difficult position this year, and so we entered a search process in good faith that we would fill the vacancy. However, it is my sense that at this time we are at an impasse and cannot proceed in filling the vacancy. We felt it was important that the public was apprised that we were trying to fulfill our responsibilities, but given that we are not likely to have an appointment to come out of this process by July 25th, I will plan to notify the First Selectman and the Board of Selectmen of our status. The primary reason we appear to be at an impasse is that there is a political process going on simultaneously, and it is my sense that some feel that by seating someone, we would be influencing that political process, and others feel that seating a new member before the election is an important duty of the Board of Education. Furthermore, counting from the April 26th resignation, day 90 falls on July 25th. So at midnight on that day, the board could no longer seat a new board member. Coincidentally, the Republican Town Committee caucus is scheduled on the evening of July 25th, followed by the town's municipal election on November 7th. That all said, the Board of Selectmen may act, but they do not have a time period during which they have to make a decision. They may choose to seat someone after July 25th, or if no decision is made before November 7th, the seat would be filled by the BOE candidate receiving the highest number of votes for this two-year seat. Most importantly, I want to emphasize that we do not anticipate that this will affect the good and continuous work we will be able to do as a board on behalf of educating and advocating for children. I would like to thank the administration and all the board members for meeting on this summer evening, and I will now open the floor for discussion. Penny?
So I'm sorry we're at this point, and I just feel like it's apparent that the Republicans have caucused, and with 5 Republicans on the board, are not able to have a candidate to put forward, even not counting the Democratic vote. I think we've had many vacancies on the Board of Ed happening at all points in time, many of them at the end of a term, right before an election. And this board has always stepped forward and has found the candidate that they could rally around and appoint in the best interest of the kids. I do believe it is in the best interest of the children of this district for the Board of Ed to fill this position and not to abdicate our responsibility and pass it off to the Board of Selectmen. We have no idea who they will appoint. I think it indicates a weakness by this board, and that saddens me greatly that that is the position that we're in. I think it indicates putting party politics above the best interests of the children. Again, I think we did that during the Columbus Day decision, and I thought that was unfortunate. I think we're doing that again today. So we have one more meeting while we have control over this position. We have a very talented group of people, and I would encourage the members of this board to please take your, it might not be your first choice, but let's rally as a board. Let's seat someone in this position. Let's fulfill our responsibilities as they've been given us by the people of this town. I think that is what it is, and I'm just sad because I think it sends the wrong message to the community. I think it sends the wrong message to our teachers, and I think one of the things that we try and do on this board is model good citizenship. We try and model not party politics, and I just think we are failing that in this regard, and we don't have to. I mean, we can change. And then the last thing I guess I would say, in light of the position that we're finding ourselves in, what it says to me is it really matters who sits on the Board of Education. So I would encourage every citizen to vote in November, to get to know all the candidates, to ask them questions that are hard, and not just to dig in and deep and find out where you want this district to go. I mean, we're the #1 rated school district, often in the state. We're highly rated in the country. We're doing really well, and yet we're at this unfortunate impasse. So I would just say this is a point. Please pay attention and vote accordingly.
Yes. Can you go on camera?
And not essentially skip our responsibilities to another group of folks in town. It's really our responsibility, and we should push forward to fill the vacancy. That's it. Thanks.
Phil?
So I would take issue with a couple of terms. The first is seating responsibility. I understand this board has done things a certain way, but that doesn't always mean it was the right thing to do. Had Dan's resignation happened at another point during the year, you could make a very strong argument that we should appoint someone immediately because we are in session, school's in session, and this board has 9 board members for a very good reason, and we would lose something if we didn't have that 9th member. But given the timing of Dan's resignation, given that we are bumping up against an election and a caucus and that sort of season, this feels like a sensible thing to do, to not interfere in that process, to give more than 8 people a say in who sits on this board. Caucuses are, the winner of the caucus is going to receive 500 to 600 votes. We'll have a primary after that. I mean, I think we're allowing the democratic process to happen rather than sort of putting our thumb on the scale, so to speak. So I think, again, the timing is unfortunate, but I'm comfortable with the decision and comfortable that voters will, as Penny talked about, do their due diligence, ask the tough questions, and ultimately have their say as it relates to the makeup of this board.
Other comments, questions?
I'll comment. Can I get the floor too?
Oh, okay. Erica was, Bob, I didn't know you were on. Erica's here. She's going to comment, and then we'll go to you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I understand how challenging this is to fill at this moment. You know, we had some time to think about it. I wish that we had been able to come together and find someone. I echo Brendan's point that I think there are good people in town, and I want good people to come forward and want to join us on this board. And I hope that we will get, going forward, continue to get good people who can contribute to the work of the board. From my perspective, you know, there's a lot more to our board than our meetings. I mean, our meetings are very important, but there's lots of other work that we do. And I want us to find individuals who have both the time and the capacity to really dig in, who come to the table with knowledge of our district and the way things work, but then also really want to learn and really want to contribute. And I was hopeful we would be able to do that. And I understand there's a lot of factors at play. And it's just, you know, it is disappointing that we haven't been able to do that thus far.
Bob?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take exception with a few of the comments as well. You know, in the past, there has been, you know, more consensus around whoever's been put on, and the process was a little different. It never bumped up against the caucus. So, you know, to like it or not, there's some politics involved because it's a political season of the year. So timing wise, this is the way it worked out. Unfortunately, you know, a majority of us agree on several candidates that we would seat that are in the political process, and not everybody. So we don't have enough people to get the vote. That's unfortunate, but I think the way it's playing out is just fine. You know, at the end of the day, one of the people that are being elected, one of the, you know, these candidates that are being elected by the people will get on the board. And that's just the way it's going to be. If there was a vacancy in the other party, I don't think we would, you know, kind of try to say how we'd want you to fill it. You would fill it however you're going to fill it. We would expect your support, or you'd expect our support in trying to fill that role, just like we expect your support as we try to fill our role. Timing wise, this one didn't work out, you know, in an ideal way. I'll give you that. But it's not fair to say that, you know, I just have a problem with some of the comments and the way that went down. I don't think that's fair. I don't think, you know, we're trying to figure it out, just like, you know, it's been done in the past. And unfortunately, this is the way it's playing out. But, you know, I don't think it has nothing to do with people's commitment. I think all the people that are running are extremely committed to being on the board, and extremely qualified and extremely valuable members of the community that are going to contribute. So, you know, I would ask everybody, including in the town and on this board, to have patience while the process plays out. Thanks.
Can I make another comment?
Go ahead.
Sorry. I don't think any of us, at least I'm definitely not questioning anyone's commitment to the board. I think everybody is absolutely committed and focused on, you know, their service to the board. I think that the challenge is ceding this decision to a political party, right? I don't think, at least I don't believe that's something that we should do regardless of the season that we're in. It's just not something that we should do. We're individual board members serving as board members, serving the New Canaan community, and we have a responsibility. And I think we should, you know, again, in my view, I think we should take that responsibility and make a decision, not have someone else make it for us.
It's just not, that's not reality though.
Any other comment? I would just add, oh, go ahead.
I'd just say it doesn't have to be political. It doesn't need to be that way. We're ceding this authority, we're making it political. Doesn't need to be, it's never been in the past. I mean, we are a divided board on some issues. So, you know, there are those of us who want to start a curriculum committee, those of us who think we're doing a great job. All I can say is if we can't come together on this type of an issue, then people in the community, please pay attention and please look and ask candidates and probe, and don't just listen to the answer, I want to be the best school district in the Connecticut or in the US. Find out like what the differences are and where they stand, and really understand who you're voting for in this election year, because this is a very unusual circumstance that we find ourselves in. We actually seated someone, I think it was in the last 6 months of the last, before the last election. And, you know, this is not something that's run right up the caucus. This is something where this vacancy appeared in April. And the kids were in school for, you know, a good long time, but maybe not quite 2 months, but I mean, a month and a half. And typically we fill it pretty quickly because it's not controversial. So anyhow, it's just where we are. We're going to go forward, and there are things that this board agrees on, and I think has done a really great job on. But I think this is one where our message is one of weakness, not one of strength.
Okay. So I would just add, from my own personal standpoint, not speaking as chair, that I supported the idea of seating someone as soon as possible. And but that said, as chair of the board, I would like to say that I have heard all the concerns, and that I believe we're still in the same place where my sense was coming into the meeting. So given that, we will proceed with the current plan as described earlier. And again, I would just thank everyone for coming together this evening. And unless there are any other questions, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Wait, I have my hand raised.
Oh, I'm sorry, Julie, I didn't see it. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I don't think it's very fair to say that we all wanted to see somebody pretty quickly after this happened. So I don't think it's fair to say that that we didn't want that. And we have had a lot of discussions amongst the four of us. And we did want to seat somebody. And I think there was a lot of agreement in a few places, and it's a shame that we couldn't all get there. But I don't think it's fair to say that we didn't all want to seat somebody early on.
I didn't mean to suggest that. I agree that everybody had the best interests of the board in mind on the outset to seat somebody. But, you know, we are where we are. And so I think, you know, we've acknowledged, I think, and I thank all the board members for providing their own personal views on this. And I think that, you know, the plan forward is clear unless something should change before July 25th. So thank you. Okay. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Penny, second. Hugo, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.